Hello and welcome to Rise and Shine with Alissa. I am your hostess, the consultress, bringing you amazing conversations with completely awesome human beings in this age of disruption. Because, ladies and gents, nothing is normal and going backwards. It's all new and up for review. So come in, grab your cup of coffee, and have an awesome conversation with some of the great people I get to meet on my entrepreneurial, parenting, and investing journey. And hope you can grab a nugget of wisdom and let us know in the comments what's resonating for you so that we can bring you even more value. Today, I have the supreme pleasure and honor of having Miss Anna Kelley with me. Hey, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. So good to be here with you today.
Same, same. We were in the green room talking about our mugs and how it kind of has some emotional significance that we feed our
Yes.
souls with the things around us and the people we surround ourselves with the awesome people in our lives. Can I share what you shared with me?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll show it.
So, yeah, this beautiful mug she's got is something that is your grandmother bought you for your wedding.
Yes. So I went shopping for my daily wear, with my grandmother, and she's like, you have to get False-Graph. It's like the brand, and it had been around since she was young. And so she bought me all of my set and my coffee mug. So it's 25 years old almost. And it's not super fancy, but it's my favorite colors and her favorite colors. And so every time I drink out of this simple mug, I think of my grandmommy who's now in heaven.
Mmm. So good. And I you have impressed upon me. I met you in a real estate investor forum as the REI mom and real estate investor, a give back, passionate, big heart community supporter and REI, real estate investor and mom. I'm like, "Oh, sign me up. This gal's my gal." We share some similar values and so, please color us in a little bit about what your REI mom and your investing space kind of looks like because it does feel like it's like your give into the world, no?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, the some of the things that I'm most passionate about are real estate investing, not just because it's helped me to create wealth and to be able to spend more time with my kids, but because it's helped me to really help make a difference in other women's lives and anybody's lives. I coach real estate investors, and that's part of my REI Mom coaching brand. And I've got men and women as well. But I grew up in Section 8 housing. I don't know if I shared that part of my story when I met you, and my mom worked really hard. She worked 2 to 3 jobs, but she was a battered woman and she couldn't leave because she didn't have enough money. And, daycare was expensive and all those things. So I grew up with that struggle and that realization as a teenager, like I've got to figure out how to have enough money and have enough independence and not rely on a man to provide for me such that I can't provide for my kids. And so that was it's something ingrained in me when I was 15 years old. So, fast forward, I've had an amazing, very blessed life, but that determination to just do something better and then working with inner city kids for a long time in Houston, Texas was so passionate for me. And I realized so many of them can't get out because they haven't been shown a way. Right.
Oh,
So that really sparked my desire to how do I figure out how to have financial independence? How can I bring kids like me and inner city kids up to understand finances and how that can really make a big difference in your life if you learn how to steward money. And then I found real estate when I had a baby, and I was like, I need to retire from my 6-figure income because I want to be home with this little baby. And my husband had all this school debt and we couldn't do it. So started flipping houses, got into real estate, and it changed my life. And so, the REI brand was just a matter of like, how can I use what's blessed me so much to help other people to learn how to use real estate in particular, but really learn finances and the economy to steward money well, to
mm.
create income and wealth that gives you that time freedom to do what's most important to you, gives you that time freedom to make an impact on the world in the way that you're uniquely gifted, not about money, not about wealth, but it's all the things that can do for you. And for me, it's all about freedom.
It's so, so, so important to not only pop open the lid on that type of conversation, but to really demonstrate, go first, and turn around and give a hand up. Because
Yes.
I loved what you said about having been shown. Like all of us in life, in our growth initiatives, are doing so because we have to find a model in a lot of ways
Yes.
of things we haven't been exposed to. Otherwise, we're doomed to repeat the exact same life that we
Yes.
only knew in our context growing up. And some of those things are wonderful, and some of those things are a little bit like, excuse me? What is that foundation that you take for given that is completely wonky in the rest of the world? But we all have the opportunity to make those new decisions if we have the opportunity to be shown. There's a
Yes.
quote, and I'm going to botch it because I do that. I'm sorry, my dad always botched stuff, so apparently I got it. But it's like, if you show somebody, if you tell somebody, they'll maybe get it or think it. If you show someone something, then they get to understand it, and if they do it, then they really get to embody it. So
Yes.
if you know this quote out there, somebody, shout me out in the chat, because I love collecting quotes so that I can put these
Hey, you get
ubiquitous
the
things.
important part.
Yeah. So, I mean, showing the way and living the way, I think, is part of that mix for helping people and for bringing that value forward. So when you said you had that desire from early on to be financially stable, secure, and sovereign, I'd say, um,
Mhm.
how does that show up for you in how you pay it forward?
Sure. So, a couple of different things. So, being an apartment syndicator, so I went from small real estate, basically over many, many years. I accumulated about 100 rentals, 100 rental doors. And that's what allowed me to finally stay home with my children. And by the time I was able to do that, Alyssa, all of my kids were in school. So it was like, okay, I didn't quite have the stay at home mom, but we had a lot of balance and a lot of really good things there. But in about 5.5 years ago, I finally was able to leave my corporate career at AIG, where I had worked for 20 years. And I thought, what am I going to do with the rest of my day now that my kids are in school and I can be home? Like, I'm not just going to sit around. I have to be a doer. I have to be an impactor. I have to say, what can I do now to help other people with what I've learned and what I've done? And so I had been speaking at some events. So speaking at events, speaking on podcasts is one of the ways that I give back, because it's how a lot of people find me. And it's really a matter of, if I can show up somewhere and give you one nugget that inspires you to change your life in some way, like that's meaningful to me. But so, whether it's I'm speaking at an event or on a podcast, or I started doing larger multifamily. So I had done a bunch of multifamily small properties, and then I started doing joint ventures, a couple hundred units of joint ventures that I own with some partners in Pennsylvania. And so then I started building and renovating larger apartment buildings around the country. And so I have investors. And so a lot of my investors, I teach them about, different investment options. I was in private banking for years before that. So once I knew how to make money, my first real job in that field was in private banking. And so I started managing the wealth of wealthy people. And so I started learning a lot about money. And so I really am passionate about helping people. Sometimes there's investors there, they don't really have a great amount of financial acumen, but they might have had, they're saving enough money that they want to invest. And so being able to help investors navigate what is your risk tolerance versus the returns that you want. Most people don't even have that basic. They're like, oh, here's an investment, she's doing that, let me go do that. Well, that's not always the smartest thing. Sometimes it's really risky. So teaching people about risk and return, the different options in the world, how real estate can be a part of that, is making an impact on my investors that I know is I can see make a difference. And then making an impact on my residents is really important to me, because again, I grew up in Section 8 housing. I lived in apartments till I was 15, and then I moved in with my dad, in a house. But really helping our residents. We went through COVID, for example, and people lost their jobs and they couldn't pay rent. And so it's like, how can we partner with them, help them find the programs that will pay them, that will, help them fill out applications for government programs that can get them some money. So making an impact on my residents, and then really passionate about helping my coaching students to, they come to me and they're like, there's so many programs and there's so many different things in the economy. And people say, this is good, this is bad. Are we in a recession? Are we not? So being able to help people to say, where are you today? And part of what we're aligned with really is that growth piece, right? Where do you want to go? What life do you want to create, Alyssa? And that is what should drive the decisions you make about entrepreneurship, about investments. Not, I'm going to go do this and I think it's going to help me. It's like, how do you do things in a way that's going to fuel your life by design and what you want your life to look like? And then let's build everything else you do, real estate, investing, entrepreneurship, in a way that fuels that life that you really want to create because of what's really important to you. So those are the
Yeah.
ways that I give back, and those are all things that I'm super passionate about because it helps people.
Yeah, and you know what? Our work is so aligned, Anna. It's like incredible. The risk tolerance piece, like understanding where people's threshold is financially speaking, like
Mhm.
know your numbers. Know what your personal financial statement looks like. So many entrepreneurs that I meet, they know their P&Ls and their balance sheet, but they don't know what their household looks like. Like
Right.
know what each piece of your life is, because if you don't have that foundation, that awareness, yeah, so and so's syndicating. I'm going to throw some money at this. That's probably the riskiest thing you can do because you don't know what the risks are that you're taking. You're just like,
Right.
I just assume because so and so said so. So, knowing, I love what you said about knowing your risk tolerance, but then getting very clear about what you are about. Why are you making money? Like this myth of the work life balance is upside down. It's life work balance because we
Yes.
work so that we can fuel the life that we're here to
Yes.
create. And like I think that's what this age of disruption is really about. It's upending some of the assumptions that we have. And
Right.
so yes, I need to know, why I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to spend half my day with my children. I want to spend
Yes.
3/4 of my time doing cool things with cool people. And that happens to be in life and in work. So
Yes.
knowing where those
Absolutely.
worlds overlap is so
Yes.
important in getting that clarity. So I am like,
Yeah.
high five, sister, like knowing that there's
Yes.
people out there that can guide you at where
Mhm.
you are and then get you momentum, accountability, and clarity to where you're going. Like that
Right.
is the recipe for success. And like we only have the bandwidth to serve those people who have a mix of experiences that can relate to us as service
Right.
providers. Our story is important. And so I
Right.
love that you're willing and able, Anna, to like kind of open the kimono and just say, this is what
Sure.
my life has been about. This is why I'm passionate about what I'm doing now. And
Yeah.
let me show you because, like we started this conversation, let me show you because I've walked it. I embody this
Yes.
message. And so I'll be able to inform you as you walk.
Absolutely. It's so important because people look at when you have a certain level of success and it looks like you're an overnight success. People just assume. And part of it, I think, is deep emotional issues, right? As human beings, no matter what kind of confidence we have, and hopefully we've developed confidence over time. And as we get older, we become more confident. But as human beings, most of us do not start off confident. We start off questioning our self-worth. Can I do it? Well, I couldn't do what she does because she's wealthy. She probably had it easy. She probably had parents that had money. We kind of make excuse about other people's success. And I've seen this in my own life as I've grown. I've seen it in many, many, many of my coaching students' lives. Because I go deep, Alissa, it's like you think you're coming to me to learn about money and investing, but let's talk about why it's important and let's make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And let's talk about your mindset. And I can tell you, most people will, see me on a stage and think, oh, she's become a wealthy real estate investor. I could never do that, right? So it's important for me to be able to say, truly, I feel like I had all the odds stacked against me if you knew all the details of all of those things. But I figured it out. I did the best I could. I had just enough confidence in myself and just enough faith that I could create a better life than what I had been given, that I was going to do whatever it takes within my integrity, right? But with whatever I could to just figure it out and be willing to make some failures and then go, I've learned, I'm going to do it again. Not, I failed, I can't do it. Right. So it's so important for people to be able to see, like, I have struggled. And my passive income today was built literally on the blood, sweat, and tears of active getting dirty, falling down, giving up, coming back up again. Like, we all, that human struggle to have success in whatever that looks like for you, we all go through the same thing. So if I can cut that down and just give you the confidence that, look, if someone like her could do it with all these things against her, I don't have any excuses either. We all have excuses, but we can make them excuses, or we can make us things that we say those things happen for us to make us stronger, to
Yeah.
give us the strength to take the next step to create a better future for tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, so often we look at our lives and we see, why can't I? And
Mhm.
all of those why can't I's, they're all opportunities to pick that little rock up,
Yeah.
look underneath it, see what's there.
Yeah.
Well,
Say, how
if
can I?
yeah, if it
Yeah.
were possible, how would it go? And start
Right.
dreaming. So I'm gonna take a little page out of Alvin Toffler's book, Third Wave, and it's all about being willing to see things in a way that what could be is why we're here. We're here to create what comes
Mhm.
next. And in his book, he talks about the three progressions of humanity so far, from nomadic to agrarian, and from agrarian to industrial. And right now, some of the things that rocks that we're picking up to look underneath and see, do I need to flip this or toss it or make a bigger pile with it somewhere? Is that we've been trained in the last couple hundred years to think that we are mechanically part of some bigger machine where there's
Yes.
no creativity, there's no room for individuality, and
Mhm.
you're supposed to sit down, shut up, and screw the screw, in the words of Cynthia Greenawalt. Love her.
Yes.
But this is not the world that our children are inheriting. Right
Mhm.
now, we are on the crest of that third wave of revolutionizing what it means to be human and to be humane and to provide value. We're
Right.
stepping into the wisdom economy here, where who you are as a person, your story, and the ability to connect, because let's face it, AI is kind of eroding some of that stuff, but the
Right.
ability to connect as humans, that is our number one most valuable resource. So as
Yes.
we go from industrial to what's coming next, some things will be destroyed and some things must newly be created. That new
Yes.
scaffolding has to appear from
Yes.
being in integrity, from being willing to live courageously, and for questioning the things everyone holds as just given, because ideas go
Yes.
through three stages. They are like laughed at, then vehemently opposed, and then accepted as it was always this way. So
Right.
where we're going has a notion of, oh, it's always been this way. But right now, we are in
Yeah.
the pressure cooker, ladies and gentlemen. And living full out and living who you are is the number one remedy for all of that. I don't care what side of the planet you live on or
Right.
what type of proclivities you have. We no
Right.
longer live in a yes, no, this, that
Right.
environment.
Right. But I think the important thing is, and again, I'm turning 50 next week. So I'm like, I can't believe I'm here, right? How did this happen so fast? But yet, I have a choice. Do I go, oh my gosh, I'm 50 and I thought 50 was old when I, moved out of my parents' house, or to say, wow, I have like hopefully another 50 years to live. Like I've done so much to this point. Like, what do I get to live here? Right. But my point is, with age does come some more wisdom, right? And it takes a really long time for us, kind of to the point of your conversation, and the opening here, to have confidence in yourself and to really understand your self-worth. But for you to be able to go into the unknown, and listen, we have lived through so much change and so much uncertainty and so much unknown in the last 4.5 years. People are scared because people are scared of change. The reason they're scared of change is because they lose their sense of control. When we have this easy box that we're told we're in, you go to school, you follow the directions. Like you said, you learn how to screw the screw and you shut up and you don't do anything else. You're trained to be an employee, right? You're not trained to be, who are you and how would you do this differently? Could you be an entrepreneur and create a new business? We're not trained to create, to your point. But I think we're also not given the confidence to value our uniqueness and to understand that how we make the best impact on the world. We're here, there's a phrase, we're here for such a time as this. It kind of comes from the Bible, but it's like we are here in this age, in this era specifically. I do believe that, like, we're created to be here to make an impact where we are today. I can't do that if I'm exactly the same as everyone else, that I hold to a view of perfection, that I need to fit into their mold. And what are we taught? You need to fit into this mold. You need to do it this way. You need to do it this way. So as we go through this era, it's important for all of us to ask ourselves, where are we finding our worth? Are we finding our worth? Are we scared to create something new? Are we scared to be an entrepreneur? Are we scared to step out because we have found our value and our worth, and that, fitting into someone else's mold? Do we have the self-worth and confidence to say, who am I? What makes me passionate? What makes me unique? What gifts do I individually have in this world that's different than somebody else? And if I could do anything without regard to the money, what would I do and how would I do it? And that's for me, the financial freedom piece isn't, my goal is to have money. My goal is to, if I could live any life I want to do and do whatever I want to do and impact whoever I want to, however I want to, and how it fuels me and is aligned with truly who I am, money allows you the time and space to do that. So even if you're in a 9 to 5, even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, we need to think, who am I? What do I want? And can I just take a few steps today to have enough faith in myself to challenge who I think I need to be and to become who I really need to become and who I want to become. And so we need that. We need to all be able to self-reflect, to be able to handle the changes that come and not just be at the whim of whatever direction the world goes. But we're saying, I'm taking control of what I do and who I'm going to become and how I'm going to show up and how I'm going to create wealth, right? Or create impact, no matter what comes. Like, you got to be willing to take chances, take risks, bet on yourself.
Yeah. And that, to me, and I have a methodology that has the tactical, practical stuff, and then like the identity and the interpersonal stuff. And what you're
Hmm.
speaking to is that leadership piece. How do I define where I'm going for myself and who do I need to become? And what partners do I need to have to do that? And who do I
Yes.
get to empower it? Like, it is a continuum. And like,
Yes.
so being surrounded by the right people to develop that surety or courage to move forward, and then
Hmm.
who that gets to empower beyond you, like that continuum is what makes all the value in business worthwhile.
Right. For
and
sure.
and when you were talking about like, money allows you to have the time and the freedom, think about it this way: money is a current. Like, that's why we call it currency, because it's a
Mm,
current. It doesn't stop with you. You're not the dam.
right.
It's what happens when you have stagnant water. Mosquitoes,
Yeah.
right? But besides that,
I
when you
grew up in Texas. That speaks to me.
I know. And we have friends in Minnesota, and they call the mosquito the state bird. I thought that was hilarious.
That is funny.
But like, when you feel like you have to hoard money, like that mentality around like it comes to me and it stays with me, it's like that Scrooge
Mhm.
McDuck looking thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is not actually what money does. Money comes in so
Yes.
that it can flow out. And if you
Right.
think of yourself as like the receiver and it ends here, like you're going to hold on to it, you actually wind up only having so much capacity, and then it flows around you.
Yeah. Plus, inflation erodes the value of that money. So you're actually holding on to something that's making you less and less and less and less instead of figuring out like, how can I steward this? This is a tool. It's a gift that's been given to me, right?
Yep.
Not, from a like, not that you're not earning it, but like
Yeah.
view it as a gift. Like, this is a gift. Now, what can I do with it? And the scarcity mindset that so many of us grow up with, whether you had money or not, most people in our education system that barely starts even teaching personal finance till you're a junior or senior in college, if that, is money's got to get it, I got to save it. We're not taught how to be good stewards of our finances and how to then, to your point, go create with it. So if you want more, you've got to learn about money, learn how it works, learn what you can do with it so that you can go create it. For so many people, I mean, we're entrepreneurs, so it comes a little easier to us. Although, to your point, like, we weren't born knowing this. We had
Yeah.
to develop this knowledge, right? With anything, you develop knowledge and then, you've got to put it to practice, and then you learn the lesson and then you get better with doing it. But if you can start out with saying, people say, I don't understand money. You're just a different brain than I am. You get money, I don't. Well, that's an excuse, right? You don't get it because you haven't applied yourself to knowledge and then learned how to steward it. But we're not taught how to steward money. We're not taught how to do something with it other than go to work, save it, put it in your 401k, and when you're 65, you can enjoy your life. I was like, I want to enjoy my life a lot earlier, right?
Yeah.
So money is a tool that you have to start learning about. It's not that complicated. But if you start with that core of, who am I? What do I really want? Where do I find my value and my purpose and my passion? Let's go create that life. It all comes back to that. Your investment decisions, you're creating. Now, how can I steward everything that is a resource to me? to create that. And that money is one of those resources. Your network is one of those resources. Potential partners, one of those resources. Google, AI, YouTube shows, podcasts, that's one of those resources. So you've got to look at yourself as, and although I believe in God, and I can tell you I've made so many mistakes, Alissa, that I'm like, if it weren't for the grace of God, they would have doomed me. But we still at the same time have a responsibility as human beings to steward our lives well. And so we have to look at ourselves as a captain of the ship, right? There's
Yes.
a poem that I love, and I can't quote it either, but it's talking about being a captain of your ship. And, if I'm the captain of my ship, I have no more excuses. I can't blame anyone else. I have to be flexible enough to adjust the sails and the winds that come and the things that could knock me down. But I have to use every single tool on board that ship, including all the people that work for me or whatever, to say, where do I want to go and how am I going to steward it? And you've got so many things to steward, and you've got to build up enough confidence to say, come what may, whatever winds of change, what do I have that I can take control of, that I can make the next best decision to get me where I'm going? And that's every part of life, every decision you make. Are you going to be the person that makes excuses? Or are you going to be the person that just says, I don't know how to do it, so I'm going to keep doing what I've always done? Or are you going to get creative and steward your life?
Mic drop. Ladies and gentlemen, Anna, I feel like we could talk for hours, but you are so on with the alignment of who you get to become and all of the responsibility that comes with that. Being wealthy and creating wealth has so much more to do with responsibility than
Yes.
our culture lets us believe. And so it villainizes the having and creates an
Yes.
image that having stops with us. And in this
Yes.
conversation today, what Anna and I have shared with you all is that is absolutely, truly not the case. In fact, it's one of the obstacles that you have the opportunity to turn over, take a look at, because now's the time. We're creating the future that comes next. We're creating that next generation and the legacy of what moving from an industrial mentality of like hustle and grind into true wealth, flow, and abundance, and what that means in terms of your personal responsibility to step into who you were created to be and who you get to do it with and who you get to do it
Yeah.
for. So
Mm.
I'd love to continue this conversation. You have to come back, Anna. But in the meantime, where can people find you to learn more? Obviously, we're on LinkedIn and Facebook, but where can people go to connect with you specifically about your work?
Great, thank you. And I'd love to be back on your show. Just let me know when. You can go find me. My website is the easiest place, annakelleyinvesting.com. If you're an accredited investor looking for passive investments, or if you're looking for some guidance with your finances and your real estate opportunities, reviewing passive or active deals, kind of helping you figure out what do you want, where do you want to go, and how to do it. You can find me there. I'm also on Facebook and LinkedIn at Anna Kelley, REI Mom.
Yes. And so for all you parents out there who want to be investors or scale your investments and, live in that entrepreneurial spirit, we're your ladies. So please connect with us, like, share, comment, because what we get to send forward into this world is what we all get to contribute to creating together. Anna, thank you so much for being here with us today. And I look forward to the next time we get to come and discuss. I will get you back on the schedule. But in the meantime, friends, we broadcast every Monday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Same bat time, same bat channel every week. We'll see you next time, friends. Let us know what you love and like so we can bring you more value. Cheers.
Cheers.